everybody, Jim from Cigars, and today I am reviewing the Drew Estate Blackened M81 Maduro. This cigar came out late in 2022, so it hasn't been out too long, and the name comes from Blackened, which is a whiskey distillery, and we'll get more into that in a minute. And also the M81 means Metallica 1981, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. Every good marketing program for a cigar needs two things: interesting characters and a story. And this one has them both. The three people, Jonathan Drew, we know who he is. He's the head of Drew Estate, and he is a character in and of itself. James Hetfield, who's the front man for Metallica, and a lifelong big cigar smoker. And Rob Dietrich, who's a master distiller at Blackened, which is a whiskey company, also owned by Metallica, by the way. The interesting story behind Blackened, before I go on, I have to talk about this, is the big selling point for Blackened whiskey is it is stored in black brandy casks and sonically finished by blasting Metallica music during the finishing process. So it's quite a tale they tell there. There's more to it than that. If you want more information, you can go to Blackened's website or Drew Estate website. Anyway, those three guys became acquainted, and being lifelong cigar smokers, they decided to collaborate and come up with this cigar. And it took them several years, actually, of trading blends and ideas on blends and stuff like that, and trying dozens of blends, and finally they came up with this cigar. One thing about the cigar, it says on it, Maduro to the core. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but this is a Maduro bomb. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing lit up. Now we know it's got a great story and great characters. We'll see if the cigar lives up to that.
Some more matches.
What's going on in there?
I met some people smoking on the street, so I invited them up to my apartment to smoke.
Why?
Well, somebody had to. You know, just because a person's a smoker, that doesn't mean he's not a human being.
Hey, I'm back. Just got this thing lit up a few minutes ago, and so far I've had every problem under the sun with this thing. You can see the tobacco split. It's got a little tunneling going on. It had some canoeing, but it was a little breezy, and I was over smoking it trying to get it started because the smoke production was not good at all. But let's talk about the cigar. It's very, very toothy, and this is a double Corona. It's a 7-inch long cigar by, I think, 48. So it's almost like a Churchill type cigar. The wrapper on this is San Andres Mexican Maduro. The binder is Connecticut River Valley Maduro, and the filler is all Nicaraguan and Pennsylvania broadleaf Maduro. And the Pennsylvania broadleaf is supposedly very strong, atop Liguro priming on it. So it's supposed to be pretty strong. I haven't gotten that far yet because, frankly, I haven't had a good opportunity of a smoke. So I'm going to battle this thing for a while and get it going and come back to you for a final report.
All right, I've got room for two, but the only thing I have is in the non-filter section.
Hey, how you doing? What do you got, a smoker's lounge in there?
Oh, yeah, people really seem to be enjoying themselves.
All right, I'm back. As you can see, I'm pretty far down in this Blackened M81 Maduro cigar. And I got to say, it self-corrected to a great extent. All the problems started to melt away at about, I don't know, the 1.5 inch point or something like that. And it got to be a pretty solid smoke. I'll admit too, I was over smoking it at the beginning because it was really hard to light and get smoke production. And that could be because basically, as they promote it, it's all Maduro tobacco. And I think Maduro tobacco, compare that to a Connecticut, easy to light, copious smoke production, good burn. Maduro's a little tougher because it's made out of broadleaf tobaccos, which are very thick. And then so I guess I'm relating that to being a little bit harder to light and get going. But once it got going, it's pretty good. I'm going to compare this to the Camacho Triple Maduro that I reviewed, I don't know, a month or so ago. And it certainly has the good Maduro flavor, which that had. This has a little more spice to it than the Camacho did. Not quite as smooth tasting. Certainly interesting, though. Good depth to it. and an enjoyable cigar. And Drew Estates generally makes pretty good construction cigars. I've had very few problems with anything I've smoked from Drew Estates in terms of construction. So I don't want to paint the picture that this started badly. So I want to correct the misconception if I created that early on that this wasn't a well-constructed cigar, because a well-constructed cigar will self-correct its flaws. Which, body-wise and boldness, I'm going to give this about a 8.5. It's pretty smooth in spite of that spice. It's pretty smooth. It's not one of those knock you over bold cigars. In the overall smoking experience and the flavor, good Maduro taste, kind of licoricey, a little bit of sweetness, but not very much. It's got that spice. I'd say black pepper type spice, but good flavor, good burn and everything overall. So I'm going to give this about 8.75. I'm really splitting hairs here. 8.75 out of 10. And I don't know, this is definitely worth trying if you haven't had one. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up buying another one at some point. So that's it for today. I will see you next time.